Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Sold Sign Real Estate Unplugged. We are your favorite hosts, Naya
and Lauren,
and we're so excited to be back with you all for another week and another story. So let's go ahead and get right into this week's story.
The surprise delay, y'all. Let's talk about new construction because we haven't talked about this in a while. So this is a story from a new construction contractor. Let's get into it. I want to share a story about a family I worked with who were building their dream home. They had been looking for a while and finally decided to go with new construction. They found a beautiful floor plan in a neighborhood that was just starting to develop, and they were so excited to personalize everything, from the countertops to the paint colors. It was a thrilling time for them. We signed the contract, and everything seemed to be going smoothly. The builders told us the house will be ready in about 6 months. The buyers had already sold their old home and were living with family, so they were counting down the days until they could move in. But as the weeks went by, I started hearing some concerning news from the builders. They were facing delays because of issues with getting materials. It was frustrating because the family had already planned their lives around the move-in date. They were excited, imagining how they decorate the new place and settle in with their kids. As the expected completion date approached, I got the dreaded call. The builder informed me that they were running behind schedule and the house wouldn't be ready for another month. I knew I had to tell the family, and I was worried how they would react. When I broke the news to them, they were understandably upset. They had already moved out of their old home and didn't have a place to stay. I felt terrible. I told them I'd do everything I could to find a solution. We quickly worked on finding a temporary rental nearby. Luckily, I had connections with a property manager who could help us find a place that was available for the month. It was a scramble, but we managed to secure a short-term lease for the family. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, their house was completed. When they walked through the front door for the first time, their faces lit up. All the stress and waiting faded away as they took in the beautiful space they had created. They hugged me and said, "We couldn't have done this without your help." This experience taught me that with new construction, things can change quickly. Delays happen, and it's essential to stay flexible and prepare for the unexpected. It's also a reminder to communicate openly with clients and be ready to help them through tough situations. I love it. This is the most honest and true story with new construction I feel like I have heard in a long time.
Really, the most honest.
Yes. Because delays with new construction happens, like, I feel like way more than what it should. But when first of all, when he said it was the delay of the materials, let me tell y'all something. 2020, COVID hit. Obviously, everybody know. We built our house smack dab in the middle. We moved in July. We had a closing date of July. We were supposed to close the morning of whatever date that was. We didn't close till 4 p.m. When I tell you we had truck, like everything was ready to go, and we did not think we were going to close. We were waiting all day, and they were like, "Oh, we're not going to be able to close you guys this day," but whatever. Stressed out, and we were the last closing that day. We were running, me and my husband were running into the closing office, making sure we could get in there to close. Yes, because the title company was telling us like, "Oh, we had delays, like we couldn't do it." And 2020 COVID time, materials were crazy. Like, it was so insane trying to get materials for houses, and I was the realtor at that time too, so I understood on the realtor side. But also as a buyer, that was kind of like, woo, I can feel how y'all feel during this moment, because that's very stressful. And we didn't have anywhere to go because, kind of like these people, we had left our old house and our renters were actually moving in that same day. So we didn't have anywhere else to go. That was a day. Our whole family was here. Yeah, very stressful. So this is very honest, and I appreciate him for even talking about this, because I feel like sometimes builders, I know I'm talking a lot, hold on. I feel like sometimes builders, like, sometimes they don't want to say it, or at least like maybe the sales rep doesn't want to relay it to the actual like clients. The builders, that's different, because the builders are talking to the sales rep and they're like, "Hey," or the project manager, you know, builders may be talking to the project manager like, "Hey, we may not be able to get this done on time." It's up to the project manager and the sales rep to go back and tell their clients like, "Hey, we may not be able to get closing on time, and you got to tell us way ahead of time. Please don't tell us 2 weeks before we are about to close on the house that y'all had a delay. Y'all knew y'all didn't have those materials 3 months ago." And we understand, especially if you're building a house like during the winter time, delays are going to happen. So if that house is already not framed up by winter and they're working on the house, like inside the house in the wintertime, you're probably going to have some delays, especially if we're on the East Coast and we're up north. So we're going to have snow, we're going to have rain. So it's a lot of things that could delay a new construction closing. I had to get that out. I'm sorry, y'all. I felt some type of way.
Oh my gosh.
I remember that like it was yesterday, y'all.
Dang.
I'm telling you, yeah.
I feel for you on that one.
And we have new construction clients.
Yeah.
So
I think, like you said, the sales rep, project manager, I think sometimes when they're looking at the timeline, they feel like, oh, well, this is still 3 months away or a month away, whatever it is. But I like to operate with like proactiveness and just everybody be on the same page.
Yes.
Like, hey, it's looking like there's a bit of a delay. We still have time, so no worries. We'll keep you posted. That's all they have to do.
No surprise. Yeah, we don't
just
want
so
any
there's not a
surprises.
surprise, and you can maybe have half of a plan B.
Thank you.
Or half of a where we might go.
Something
in your head, just for worst case scenario.
Yeah, just in case. Because then what if the buyers are also sellers? So if they are selling a home so that they can now buy this new construction house, they done sold their home. They didn't get necessarily a rent back. So now they're out and they're based like they listed the home. Like we're working backwards. If they know they're going to move into their house is finished in January, right? They said 6 months. So at this point it's June. So if they're saying, hey, your house is going to be ready in January, we're going to work backwards and we're going to say, okay, we're going to list these people, their home in, let's say, I don't know, maybe let's say November. We list at the beginning of November and then they close in December. Well, then they can move into their new house, let's say January 1st or whatever. But if it's a delay, now you pushing them back a whole month. This wasn't like a day or two delay. This was like an entire month.
Yeah.
What is the people who you just sold the house to, what are they going to do? Exactly. So they have nowhere to go. And it's like a ripple effect, which I don't think some people understand. You want to talk about the ripple effect? Because I don't think people get it.
Yeah, it's a lot of times, especially if you are selling a home and then buying a new construction home, you're likely maybe using funds from the home that you just sold to put down on the new home, or just the point of you being out of the home and now you're going from place to place, not like with no time in between. Right. So it can affect you as simply as that, and not having anywhere to go, and then you can't go back because somebody has bought that house or is now renting it out or is expecting to be in their place, so you can't. So then if they mess you up, then you would mess them up. So too many players and pieces involved. So if everybody just plays, I don't want to say plays their role, but communicates from the beginning of any delays, any question marks, whatever it is. It's just important that all parties are on the same page and have an honest, transparent, understanding the whole way through of what's going on, so that people aren't surprised and can kind of figure out some kind of backup plan. With all that in mind, of course, everybody should have just a grain of flexibility and grace and patience.
Naya and her grace.
I know.
Naya always gives people grace.
but there should still be, proper communication. I'm not excusing that at all.
Yeah.
So,
no, I agree with you. And for the new construction, like, I feel like, why don't you like give a time frame that's like maybe further out, like 2 more weeks. So if like, oh, hey, the house is going to be done in 6 months, so we're going to say you can move in January 15th. Why don't you just say like January 31st? That way it gives y'all as the builder and the proper project manager, like whatever, it gives y'all an opportunity to have those 2 weeks and y'all not like spot on deadline. Maybe y'all already do that. I don't know. I'm not a builder and I don't work in the new construction. We obviously help with new construction all the time, but we're not like those sales reps that's sitting inside the new construction homes. So I'm just wondering, like, do y'all give yourselves grace and give yourselves some time where we know that people want to get into their homes quickly. We understand that. But if you tell them up front, if you tell them in June that their move-in date is January 31st instead of January 15th, and they can move in on time, they're fine.
Yeah.
They're fine. But if you tell them January 15th and now you got to move it back to February 15th, it's going to be a problem. So,
that's a good point.
I feel like they should.
Yeah, and if they're giving themselves, let's just say they are giving themselves a 2-week flex time, it needs to be 4 weeks.
It needs to
like that's not enough time. So
get it together, okay? Yeah. She said it needs to be 4 weeks. Y'all better
that's not enough time. So yeah, I mean, so we talked about those things. There's gonna be things out of maybe everybody's hands at sometimes with materials or something.
Yeah,
getting there, but to some extent, there's communication and things that should be, not negotiable on.
And you may ask, like, how can a realtor help with new construction? I just wanted to go back to what I said really quick, because I said we're not new construction sales reps, meaning we are not sitting inside the new construction homes and like writing up the contracts. We are obviously realtors, and we can help bring buyers to new construction property, and then we work hand in hand with the new construction sales rep. And so some people may say, well, what's the point of a realtor? Well, the new construction sales rep that's sitting inside of those new construction homes, they work for the seller. They work for the builder. They don't work for you as the buyer when you come in. Not saying they're going to have any like ill intent towards you, but just understand that their main focus is to get as much money, I guess. They're working for the builder. They are not working for you. When you hire a realtor or when you bring a realtor in, we are working for you 100%. We are only focused on you and your best interest. So when things like this come up, like delays, we're on it. Like, we're like, what's going on? How can we fix this? We need to figure out where as a buyer, you may just be like, okay, we're not going to say okay. Yeah. We need to figure out, and we are on top of them probably every other week, just trying to figure out like, okay, how's everything going? And we would know probably within like 2 to 3 months if your house is delayed, and we will be the ones communicating and let you know, because sometimes the sales rep aren't going to do it because, again, they're working for the builder.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because as a realtor, you'll kind of know of like where the home should be at this point, or what information you should have at this point. And if we're not having it, then that's the number one indication, something is not moving along correctly, and we'd be able to communicate that. And like you said, just advocating, and I think bringing perspective for a buyer that they may not get from a sales rep, because they are representing the builder, or the builder at that point. So even just the small things, like I've talked to people who have bought new construction, and nothing against the salespeople at all. They're trying to show and share the features and different things you can do. But sometimes, but sometimes, like in reality for a buyer, it may not be something that's really like important or like worth it for to have it added into your package at that point. Like, so there's just different things where like it's nice to have another voice there with you, even in that new construction process.
It is, because I mean, as a new buyer doing new construction, you just don't know what you don't know. And you're not going to know what all the process, like what the steps are, and what the next what the process is, and what the next steps are. You just wouldn't know. And that's where you bring in a realtor that you trust, and they could be like, oh, okay, like you've been through this process. Is this right? Should I be expecting this? And that's what all of our clients do. And I feel like it's worth it. And y'all, especially for new construction, because other rules have changed, but new construction, if I'm not mistaken, like buyers still are not paying. New construction
that is correct.
If I'm not mistaken, new construction, the builder is still paying our commission, so the realtor's commission. So y'all are buyers, y'all are just bringing us in to kind of just be a voice and to kind of be there to support you and make sure we have your back. But y'all aren't shelling out any funds when it comes to new construction and paying us.
Hope y'all wrote that down.
I hope y'all wrote that down.
That's really good to know, and I think helpful for those who are being mindful of what costs may be when it comes to commission. New construction, you definitely won't have to worry about that.
I agree. I was gonna do like some takeaways for them, like when you're going in new construction, just be flexible. Understand, Naya said it multiple times, have some grace. It's fine. Like, you're getting a new house, it's going to be worth it. Like, it's so going to be worth the wait. I promise it's going to be so worth it. But you just have to understand, it's not a resale home. The home is not already built. And if there are some delays, think about it in a positive light. Like, you know what? if something wasn't right, I'd rather them catch it now than when I'm inside the house and something's wrong and I got my family in there. And so let them go ahead and catch it now. Let them go ahead and take their time, do what it is that they need to do, and then we'll go ahead and move in. So think about it more so in a positive way. You're going to get into your house. You know it's yours. You're going to get into it, and it's going to be worth the wait. It just, the best things are worth the wait. I ain't gonna lie, so you never know. You never know.
That was a really good point. You would rather them catch it now.
Right.
It's worth the wait.
Then so it's move all in. Yeah, and just keep the communication open. If you decide not to bring in a realtor, I would highly don't do that.
I was about to say, there's nothing else to highly. Yeah, it's like, actually, I don't have nothing highly to recommend.
Highly recommend you don't do that. Okay, right. Bring in a realtor. Let us have your back, and so that if there is something that comes up like this, we can at least communicate with you in a timely manner.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Yeah. So have a realtor. And have some grace as always, and you should be good to go. But new construction homes, definitely, that's also a very exciting, step to take if that's the direction that you're looking in for your home. So good luck on your journeys. Thanks for joining us again for another episode and another week. Don't forget that. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you like, comment, and share, and make sure that you're following us along on Instagram as well. See you next week.